morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Mitchell Ringos. Thousands of Thunder Bay residents came out to Marina Park this afternoon to watch the Canadian Forces Snowbirds Aerobatics performance. The spectacle was part of the city's 40th annual Kite Festival. Jessica Clement reports.
Crowds of people could be seen watching the sky Saturday afternoon to catch a glimpse of the Snowbirds aerial performance. And the weekend marks the first time in 10 years since Thunder Bay has been able to see a full performance by the team. The show was a highlight of the 40th annual Kite Festival, which was moved over to Marina Park from Chippewa Park. Event supervisor Louisa Costanzo says she couldn't be happier with how the day turned out.
I think it's fantastic. This is such a great opportunity for our community to come together. It couldn't be a better day for it, and then, yeah, so happy to see everyone out today. We anticipated, around 10,000. I'd say that we probably exceeded that.
The captivating 30-minute performance saw the CT-114 Tudor jets show off an array of formations and maneuvers with perfect accuracy. Event-goers also had the chance to see inside a CF-18 cockpit and had the opportunity to meet and greet with the members of the Snowbirds team later in the afternoon. Public Affairs Officer Captain Gabriel Ferris says it's exciting being able to see and talk to fans again.
Oh, it's pretty awesome for us, especially since COVID. We had a couple rough 2 years, shows were driving formats. So to be able to meet and greet like that with the crowd and be on the spot, and especially Thunder Bay. We haven't done a show in Thunder Bay, I think, in 10 years. So to actually be here and do an actual show on the waterfront is just amazing for us.
This weekend also marks the first show of the Snowbirds 2023 summer season, and Captain Ferris adds that this year, they'll be able to visit all 10 provinces.
So we're doing from coast to coast. We're starting with Ontario a little bit. We're going towards the east after, so we're doing Barrie, Moncton, and then we're moving to Newfoundland, and then Nova Scotia for Canada Day. That's going to be awesome for us. And then PEI, and then we're coming back all the way to Alberta, BC, and even Quebec.
If you missed Saturday's air show, don't worry. The Snowbirds will take to the skies again on Sunday at noon. Jessica Clement, TVT News.
And due to safety reasons regarding the Snowbirds performance, a section of Water Street will be closed tomorrow from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. The Friends of the Thunder Bay Public Library held a moving sale yesterday to mark their final day at Victoriaville before they make the move to the basement of the historic Brodie Street Library.
Yeah, it's our last day in Victoriaville. It's a sad day. We hate to move, but we got to go.
The Friends of the Library sell used and new books for a low price and have been in the same location for over 20 years. But with Victoriaville being demolished next year and Victoria Avenue being converted into a street again, some of the stores inside have started moving out. Many people took advantage of the final sale at that location to pick up some summer reads and take advantage of the great deals. A bucket bag sale is planned for the week of June 22nd at the new location at the Brodie Library. Now we move to some tragic news from eastern India as the death toll continues to rise after 3 trains were involved in a fatal crash yesterday. The derailment involving more than 2,200 passengers is the country's worst rail disaster in decades. Annie Bergeron-Oliver has the latest.
Rescue workers waded through piles of debris and wreckage overnight, searching for survivors trapped after one of India's deadliest train collisions. But daybreak brought that work to a halt, with the focus now on cleanup and investigating exactly what happened. Everything went topsy-turvy. People started falling on each other. The whole train was tilted, this survivor said. Authorities say 2 packed passenger trains carrying more than 2,200 passengers collided head-on Friday night after one of the trains struck a stationary freight train at full speed. The force of the collision causing at least 23 cars to derail.
So far, around 900 passengers have been injured and are being treated in various hospitals.
At hospitals in the area, it was all hands on deck, with some overrun with victims. In addition to the hundreds injured, more than 285 people died in the collision. This man was among the lucky ones. After what he describes as a scary crash, he says he broke a window and climbed out of the train to safety. India's Prime Minister visited some of those injured today and toured the crash scene. Modi has led high-profile campaigns to modernize the country's state-owned railway system, but critics say more of a focus needs to be on addressing long-standing safety concerns.
India's Prime Minister says an investigation into the cause of the crash is now underway, and he's vowing that his government will seek the strictest punishment for whoever is found responsible. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Just heartbreaking to see. In other news, a 50-bed expansion to the Kenora jail has been sitting empty for months. Kenora Rainy River MPP Greg Rickford says staffing challenges are to blame. In the meantime, Kiiwetinoong MPP Saul Mamakwa toured the original facility, and he says he's concerned about the welfare of inmates there. Lee Noonan has more.
Construction of the expansion began in 2021 and was completed last September, but the 50 new beds are still unoccupied. MPP Greg Rickford says a staffing shortage is to blame, but he's hopeful the situation will be resolved soon.
Obviously, there are shortages across this province, and correctional officers are no exception. So we'll get there very soon. The sense is that we'll be able to be operational in the not too distant future.
Rickford says he would like to see the 8-week correctional officer training offered in the riding again. In the meantime, Saul Mamakwa, MPP for Kiiwetinoong, toured the original facility, which is nearly 100 years old, and brought his concerns about conditions there back to Queen's Park.
What I saw, it's as if the people that are there are not human. And Ontario needs to act on its promises to provide more treatment in jails, especially the addictions crisis, as the addiction crisis continues. Speaker, what is Ontario doing to ensure inmates in the northern jails are getting the mental health and the addictions they need help with?
I've toured a lot of facilities all over Ontario, and it has been an eye-opener for me to see the investments that we made in the facilities to meet the cultural needs of the Indigenous peoples there, such as the smudging spaces, the sweat lodges, and the teaching lodges. Mr. Speaker, this is important to our government, and we will continue to act.
Mamakwa says he also wants investments in preventative measures to keep those struggling with addictions and mental health out of the jail in the first place. Lee Noonan, TBT News.
Not all children get the chance to interact with a newborn baby, but an initiative called Roots to Empathy aims to provide those opportunities in local elementary schools. The group celebrated the end of another year of successful programming this week. Roots to Empathy is a program run through Our Kids Count, and it's been able to reach over 6,000 students since starting here in 2002. Now, all local school boards take part in the program and host supportive spaces for infants, typically 2 to 10 months old, to partner with an elementary class for the school year. Students witness that baby's development and get the chance to ask any questions that come to mind. Program coordinator Nadine Turcott shared a few details with us about the program.
The baby comes in, it's the baby's that superstar of the classroom. The children all have smiles on their faces. They're so excited, so many questions to ask, so many observations about the baby. It's really amazing, their understanding and grasp of empathy.
The children loved watching her grow. Every month we would go and they would be like, oh my goodness, what can she do now? Can she crawl yet? And she was a little bit of a late crawler, so they were overly excited when I finally said, yes, she can crawl. You got any words today?
The Roots to Empathy program aims to help foster emotional literacy and prepare students to be responsible citizens. A new mural can be seen by those going down Simpson Street at Carlito's Board Game Cafe with the hopes of bringing a more positive light to the south side of town. Owner Chris Tellerico says he's wanted to have a mural for a while and has been speaking to local artist Annabella Randall over the last year to come up with something that went with the business, but also something that could be a nice centerpiece if the business were to close. They went over a couple designs before settling on the chess pieces, and finished the mural early this week. Tellerico thinks that bringing more arts and culture into the area will help revitalize it.
There's like that real decay that the city is seeing, and I think part of that is almost spiritual in nature, and I think art has a way of kind of reinvigorating the neighborhood, and because a lot of the people who are around who've been kind of discarded by society, they still have things to say, right? And they still have things to say about the art, and they've been kind of even involved in it as well. So it's been just a positive experience.
If you want to catch a glimpse of the mural, it can be seen on the corner of Bethune and Simpson Streets.